What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, Ace's Place 22, where I'm Ace, and this is my place. Oh, you guys are good. You guys are real good with that 22. Thank you very much for that. You've been paying attention. I hope everybody is doing great out there. This is spooky season, and we are back with a part 2 of Night 7 of Ace's Thrills and Chills movie reviews. A second video? Oh my gosh, you guys are so lucky! And what are we talking about? We're going to wrap it up right here, right now with Saw franchise, with Saw X. Saw 10, the last one so far in the franchise. I got the case right here, so we can talk about it. There it is right there. I was wondering where my prop was. Saw X, Witness the Return of Jigsaw. We're going to talk about it all right here, right now, in a full-length breakdown. If you've watched this review, I'm assuming you've watched all of the other 9. Not that there were, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. All the other videos leading up to this point. But in this video, I'm going to do the best recap of the entire franchise as I possibly can. Spoilers in this. Be forewarned. So, the very first movie shows a man. I don't want to go and say it like that. The whole franchise shows a broken man named John Kramer who's lost everything in his will to live, and in doing so, he wants others to appreciate their own life, to have value with their own lives, to stop taking things for granted. First, you can kind of start to see his way of thinking, and then things just spiral out of control. The more he loses himself, the more the games become horrific. And what I mean by that is John Kramer himself is dying of cancer, and he wants his last will to be this entire elaborate game or scheme or whatever you want to call it, to get all of those who have ever been involved to suffer, and anyone along the way to do so as well. Now, he himself does not inflict the pain, he does not kill anybody, but he has others that will, let's say, kidnap, stalk, do all of that, put the victims in their traps, and then let loose, what you will, their own demise. He's a very interesting character. Throughout the first 3 movies, he was integral. He was right there. He was alive. In the 3rd movie, he dies. He gets his neck cut by a medical saw. And that is the end of the John Kramer being alive trilogy, so to speak. And then after that, we get introduced to a handful of his apprentices throughout the years. The first couple of movies, we meet Amanda, who was part of the games in the first movie and then became his apprentice in the second and the third. Now we're introduced to Detective Hoffman, who is the heir apparent to Jigsaw himself. He is trying to rid the games... Well, no, let me say that because that's a flashback. He is not a fan of Amanda. He thinks he's more superior than her due to flashbacks that we see. His style of games... There are no winners. This is straight up, you're dying, regardless if you can make it through this or not. He is in the movies they introduce him in the 3rd one. He is the main antagonist from 4, 5, 6, right up till 7, the final chapter, where he is playing cat and mouse with all of these other different detectives and different agencies and different people that know he is the new Jigsaw killer, that he is this bad guy, but he just keeps staying one step ahead of everybody. That is until the 6th movie, when he gets caught and he actually gets the reverse bear trap put on him. Right at the last minute, he gets himself in a position where the bear trap rips open, does enough damage to him, but does not kill him, leading him to come back for the 7th and the final chapter is what they called it. And also in that, we see the return of Carrie Ewell's character, Dr. Lawrence Gordon, who was in the very first movie. He He finally comes back in the 7th one. We see what has happened, where he went, how he survived, all of that in between throughout this movie here and there. And you find out that he and the rest of these survivors from the Jigsaw murders were actually the end-all, be-all game. They were there, no matter what, to protect John Kramer's wife. I forget her name completely. Completely blanking on it. But they are there to make sure if anything happens to her, John's dying wishes were make that person suffer. And that they do. They capture Detective Hoffman. They bring him in to the room from the very first movie, and they leave him there to die. Now, a few years ago, I met Costas Mandylor and had a few words with him, and he told me, he's like, yeah, you know, I know that key's in that drain. You know that, right? And I was like, oh, mind blown. Still waiting on his return. Very exciting stuff. Can't wait for that. Then we get into and that's the end of the Kramer trilogy. That is the end of the Hoffman saga. And then we get introduced into a new apprentice of John Kramer, kind of reintroducing us into the John Kramer Jigsaw fourology. I don't know what you'd call a 4-pack. There it is, a 4-pack. Now this has many flashbacks, bringing John Kramer back to life, so to speak. And in this, we just see this man on another vendetta, just like the John Kramer games. He captures a bunch of people. Or actually, he doesn't capture a bunch of people. A game has been set in place already. The police are investigating it. And this guy is just trying to lead him on this hot trail. And eventually, everything kind of goes in his favor. His name is Logan. And he eventually, at the end of the movie... And this movie actually isn't called Saw 8. It's called Jigsaw. It's just straight called Jigsaw. And the bad guy gets away at the end of it, leaving another loose end. So we don't really know what happens to that fella. And then after that, a little bit of new life gets thrown in to this franchise with Chris Rock taking the helm and being the main actor in Spiral, a book of Saw, right? A book from Saw? A book of Saw? I can't remember it now. Where that has nothing to do with Jigsaw, but it is in the same formula. It's in the same breath as the Jigsaw Killers and John Kramer. There's no new apprentice. It's just somebody that's taking up the mantle as Jigsaw because they like his work. And it has a lot. It's everything to do with corruption in the police department. A young man's father getting killed and him seeking to take revenge on those involved, a la the Saw formula. It's a very good movie. It's got Chris Rock in it. It's got Samuel L. Jackson in it. I just put a review up of it today. Go ahead and check that one out. Why did I need to recap all of that? Because that brings us right to this. Saw X. Unfortunately, with Spiral, it leaves an unopened ending. Or an open ending, there we go. Of we don't really know what's happening, what's to come, like other ones. And with Saw X, we don't go back to that. We go back to the Kramer fiveology. And how do we do that? He's been dead for so many years. Well, this is a pretty cool movie because it is a prequel sequel. It takes place, if I'm correct, between movies 2 and 3. Because 3 and 4 coincide at the exact same time. So I do believe it takes place between 2 and 3. So it allows John Kramer to still be alive, not call them flashbacks, but to actually have it a full-length movie of him before he is executed. And I think it's just a really cool way. I think it's a really good movie. It's all about him trying to find the cure for his cancer. We see him do that, dabble in that idea in many of the other Saw movies. So that's nothing new here. But where they take it here is he can't get insurance in some of the other movies. He can't afford it, right? Blah, blah, blah. The medical procedure itself is untested, let's say, here in America, or for whatever other reasons, it just can never happen here. And in this movie, they take it that one step further, where he's completely denied everything here in the States, goes into a cancer group, hears this guy's story, sees this guy months later. This man looks amazing, right? Looks absolutely amazing. The man tells him his secret, tells him what to do. Hey, it's half the cost. Go to this place outside the country. These people will do amazing by you. Well, let the shenanigans begin. John Kramer gets in contact with these people, pays this absorbent amount of money, goes to this country. They do all the fixings, man. They make this cake look real pretty right up until you take a nasty bite out of it. I can't go into so much detail, but because we'll be here forever. But the way they manipulate John Kramer to think that this surgery is happening when it truly isn't is absolutely awesome. I think it's very, very cool. Nonetheless, the surgery is a hoax. It's all fake. And when John Kramer realizes that, it's a little too late. They've already taken his money and they've gone. The place where they were doing it, the facility, the people, gone without a trace. John Kramer has his connections. He figures out who these people are and starts hunting them down one by one. One of the individuals he puts in a game by himself to get information. And then the rest of them are all in a game together, so to speak. You get people being tortured in a way where there's a guy with bombs strapped to his arms, and the only way he can get them off is to use the knives that are duct taped to his hands to cut the bombs off. They show all the grisly, gory, gruesome fun. It's all there, from a lady sawing her own leg off to sucking the bone marrow out of her leg. It's all there on full effect. And how this movie ties into the others, it really doesn't, except for telling you or giving you a basic timeline that you can figure out where this is, because it doesn't tie into any of the other ones at all. There's no other reoccurring characters other than, spoilers again, Amanda returns. I'm drawing a blank on her name right now. Shawnee Smith, the actress. She returns from the Saw Kramer trilogy, the original 3, for this one, to show that time, not time gap, but to show where this movie takes place. And then also at the very end of it, there's an end credit scene, and we get to see my boy, my favorite guy in the whole franchise, Detective Hoffman, come back, because again, this is before his demise. And we get to see him working with John Kramer for really almost like the first time. And it's very cool. I want more of it. This movie ends on a really great note of all the people in the traps. They eventually get picked off one by one. The tables get turned on John and Amanda by the end of it. They get put in a trap that was set for the main people. Or do they? John succeeds at his trap. The main bad guys now think they're safe, when in reality they are not. One of them dies. The other one is badly maimed but still alive, leaving John, Amanda, and an unexpected ally walking out of the doors into the sunset. Saw X, credits, hit. That's how it ends. Again, there's no connective tissue to how 3 and this one come together, or however these stories intertwine. But knowing it takes place in the very, very beginning, before John dies, is a great addition to the movie, or to the franchise. I really like this movie a lot. I'm glad they made this movie, because at one point, for I think the first 8 movies, we were getting a Saw movie from 2020 or 2004, one every year up until the 8th one. And that was an amazing thing. In October, it was Halloween time, and you'd always get a Saw movie, and I was a happy teenager. So to get one or get a couple here and there every so often is really great. I'm very thankful for that. They are supposed to be making a Saw 11 I don't know if it's going to be a continuation of this one, a continuation of Jigsaw, a continuation of Spiral, a new thing. I don't have a clue. But I do know whenever it comes out, I definitely will be there if it's available to be seen in theaters in my area. But I will buy it 1,000,000%. I will probably enjoy it no matter what. Because to me, these movies, yeah, the stories can be a little lackluster and convoluted, but they've never, ever lost quality. Not in my opinion. Saw the final chapter 3D. It is a little wonky because it's supposed to be 3D. But other than that, all of these movies have maintained a very excellent standard in quality. And that is what makes me keep coming back to them, because they don't feel like they're turning into, a sci-fi network, straight to TV movie. These feel theatrical, and I love it. And that really, this has been the longest time or duration I've ever talked about the Saw franchise as a whole, individually, collectively, and it's one of my it's probably my second favorite horror franchise, right behind Halloween, with Michael Myers, obviously, that's who that is. And I will be doing the same thing like I am now with that franchise, where I will be doing collective reviews, spoiler reviews, all of it in between. But Halloween is my number one, so of course I'm going to do that. But other than that, this is the end of the video, folks. This is the end of it. You can hang out with me. You don't have to hang out with me. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the spooky season so far. We're on night 7 of the Thrills and Chills movie reviews. And there's a lot more to come. So stay tuned.